Panic versus Cure.
Once again, the cross positions here on Frost. This time the Terran player starts to the bottom right. It is Cure, Virginia Green Wings. Down one map in the series against Panic here in the consolation match of Group F at the GSL Code A. To the top left we have his opponent, Panic, successful on map number 1 on Heavy Rain. The last time that Cure started on this map against a Protoss player, he chose to go into max strategy. We might see that again right now. Whatever it is, Cure has to win 2 maps in a row if he wants to go to Code S today.
Yep, that much is definitely true. And if he fails, he wouldn't be the first Terran this season of Code A.
Yeah, so far we didn't really see a whole lot of Terrans qualify. Actually, we didn't see a single Terran player qualify yet for Code S through Code A.
There's the gate going down for Panic. And they're cross spawns. Same spawning locations, or same... last time it was reversed, but they're cross spawns just like the last time when Cure mech'd on this map against Hurricane. So keep that in mind as well. That might actually influence his decision, whether or not he wants to commit to it. He's still going to go for that Reaper expand first. And even if he mechs, he's probably going to do the same Marine-heavy composition at first, to not only throw his opponent off, but to be safe against Oracles and early on harassment. Because if you try to mech straight away with only a few Marines, then Oracles could actually just end the game against you because you're so vulnerable in the early game. Also playing Stalkers can give you a bit of a problem as well. There's the core. And here comes the first scout. See which direction he goes. Not going to matter since both directions, top right and bottom left, are going to be incorrect.
The Reaper coming out for Cure, of course, once again. SCV also starting with the Scout. Really wants to find out early on what's going on there. And Panic has a bit of an advantage over Hurricane. And he knows that also the last time there was a mech strategy. So if he will really want to scout and detect early on what's happening. And I also think that if he's actually going up against mech, which you're going to see soon, that he probably thought about what he would do in Hurricane's place when he was watching that series.
Yeah. Well, I think the answer is not to build Colossi the way he did in Attack. That's step 1. But look at this. He only mines 100 gas. And that's going to give him a faster command center. And it's going to give him the ability to add additional barracks, too. Or a third command center, if he so chooses. He might be saving for that. Nope. It's the second barracks, like originally predicted.
Second barracks, so we're not going to see that. It's actually a little bit sad. I liked that a lot in the last game, on the last series.
No scout on the base by Panic. His probe got killed, so he has no information whatsoever of what's happening, composition-wise, build-wise, command center-wise. And the Mothership Core has to stay at home because of the Reaper, so she's not going to be able to go out there. If you want to call the Mothership Core a she. She can't go out there.
Well, Reaper is in, and the Stalker just waiting for it to go. Oh, he's actually gonna lose that? No, just
2 more shots.
Barely able to get away there. Yeah, but the Mothership Core, of course, also helping out and making sure that the scouting information are not granted to the Reaper, but the SCV sneaks in and knows what's happening. At the bottom now, the second barracks is done, and Tech Lab being added there. And for Panic, we have the robotics.
Better safe than sorry. This is 1 win away for him. Going right into Code S, so when you're up on the map in the series, it's your opponent's map choice. Just play safe. Robotics here is going to be great against mech, if that's what he's up against, or even a Marine siege tank push, anything like that. So I respect his choice to do this.
Stim coming out now for Cure, and having that Stim upgrade is going to help you against so many potential attacks of your Protoss opponent. So Cure in all of those games has been trying to get the Stim out quite fast. There we have him already with the double gas. Stim started, and just trying to saturate his 2 bases. We saw him in a couple of matches against Hurricane actually start with the third barracks before he went into his tech and started with the factory. Here it looks a little bit more like we will see the factory in just a few seconds. He's mining gas from the 2 refineries already, and that gives him quite a lead. There we go, factory being dropped. And at the same time, starting at the top left for Panic is the first observer. That will give him not only scouting information of the bottom right at some point, but also, of course, he's going to be safe in case that the Terran player decided to go into some kind of Widow Mine drop, which is a little bit unlikely on a big map like this, just because it hits so late.
Yeah, but a little better safe than sorry. Forge, as indicated here, it's mentioned. And it's really interesting because in the last game we saw Panic just have total control over the third base. Like he He stayed on 2 base for so long, and then went to a 3rd base, and once that was up, he just would not take any damage no matter what. And then he just was more map aware and played a better defensive game. That's how he won it. And then when the Zealots came to Kier's base, he was like just had to type out. But I wonder why Kier is. I mean, he's going so heavy on Marines here. He wants to be aggressive again, obviously. But I don't see why this option is better than trying something different. I guess it's partially the map. He may not attack with these Marines for a while and just be trying to build up this composition that's safe against timing attacks of his opponent. I guess only time will tell.
For Panic, we have now the Warp Prison. With the Warp Prison, we can start to be a little bit aggressive on his own and just trying to put the screws on there. If he applies the pressure, he might be able to force a few mistakes from Cure. Cure is still pretty low in the harvester count here with 39. Is not getting any additional SCVs, whereas we have Panic still producing his probes to the top and also adding additional gateways so that he has the warp wins available.
Yeah. Reaper's still hanging out, wants to identify if a probe goes over to make a pylon or a 3rd base or anything.
First Colossus is already also there, and that will help him a lot against potential pressure with Marines. That Warp Prism on the way still.
Yeah, Warp Prism on the way is also going to be nice. And are those 2? I think those are 2 depots, not 2 turrets on the edge. That would be crazy if safe if those were turrets, but he's going to see this a mile away. Problem is that he's moving out away from his base with most of his army right now.
And that Observer is in the perfect spot. Sees exactly what's going on, and the Marines alone, I mean, against the Photon Overcharge alone, they won't be able to do anything. And then there's a Colossus as well. Now the Zealots in the main base suddenly being dropped, and he doesn't have a lot.
Yeah, he can actually just warp in more.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Warps in more, and the entire army of the Talon player turns around and heads home.
This is really, really scary now. Actually has to be very careful with his SCVs too. He cannot afford to lose those right now. He needs to run those away. There he goes.
Losing 2, 3, and the Marines still on the run, and now finally the rest of the army is moving in there. He just moves back for now. 7 Harvesters killed and a few Marines. That drop was worth it. Also, of course, forcing Cure to move back.
Observer went down there. There's the Temple Archives.
Getting that Storm upgrade once again.
Yeah, he really wants it. He needs it. Can't start a 3rd Nexus. The factory tries to deny, but a bit too slow. Another Zealot attack. He has the Observer in the perfect spot, like you said earlier, to see move-outs and to punish for them. This time there's a few too many units, but if he sits back and waits until charge is ready, he can warp in a big group of units, and it's going to be able to kill those stemmed units that are trying to defend. Oh, the probe is denied, but that Reaper we talked about earlier too. And he wants to make sure that factory doesn't land.
He sees the 3rd base now. Nice. He sees the 3rd base with the Warp Prism. Can take down the SCV there. But he knows exactly that we have now another base coming up for the Terran player, additional source of income for him. And on the other hand, Cure is also starting with Vikings at this point, so he will have something against Colossi. Storm has been started. I don't think he identified that yesterday.
No, he did not. He hasn't really been able to get over there into the main base when he drops. The only thing he had over there was the factory, which was trying to not only identify the 3rd base timing of the Protoss, but also deny it. And he had the Reaper to spot move-outs, and also the 3rd base. But he didn't get in the main with any drops. And this 3rd base is still not being started. He's going to lose the probe, and that means another huge denial. Factory not going to be able to land against that much firepower. Warp Prism is actually found. He might be able to chase that down with some of his Vikings now and kill it, or at least keep them at bay. He's actually going for the chase. You can see his army moving towards the top right now. At least a group of it.
Double has the Phoenix to find out what exactly is going on at the bottom left. Another base also being built, immediately spotted by that factory. And nice, he actually keeps his Warp Prism alive. I thought that was dead for sure when the Marines started with the stim and ran down. Yeah. But the job of the Zealot here is saving the Warp Prism for now. The Marines starting to target the Zealot instead, and the Warp Prism can be used later on to once again warp in units maybe to attack that 3rd base, or potential 4th later down the road.
Vikings find the Warp Prism though. To the bottom right, or top right.
Yeah,
it's
goes
gone
down. Poor thing.
Poor thing. It's really sad.
Such a nice escape, and then you go down just a few seconds later against the anti-air units of your opponent. That's bad.
Cure's upgrades right now are solid.
Yep, going into +2/+2 already, really ahead of Panic. But Panic is moving across the map now. He still has that 3rd base, and just look at the army supply here. Having a slight lead, but it's also about the composition that he has. I'm not quite sure if you realize how many Vikings there are already, and there are currently 3 being built at a time since we have a double starport.
Nice again there on that Observer. The armor upgrade for Panic is +2 versus the 1/1 upgrades of Cure. He's starting 2/2 right now. He's got
looking
those
for the storm.
That storm is pretty decent.
It's decent, but a lot of the army was in the back and didn't take any damage. And here we go, the rest of the High Templars moving in, and we have no ghosts, no nothing. And immediately the Vikings starting to take on the Colossi. It's still a couple of really good shots going off. Another nice storm hitting the Terran player here.
Yeah, these storms are pretty good, but the Vikings will make quick work of not only that Mothership Corps, but the Colossus is getting low as well. Goodbye, Colossus. Warpins of Zealots here. He's trying to force his way through. 2 energy left until he has a storm. Where is it?
One High Templar got already sniped. There's the storm that he needed. But he's down in army supply already, and the Terran player eating another storm here, but trying to push him back. Even the Vikings now in assault mode, tanking a bit of damage at the front, but we have 4 Immortals in this composition still. Great against the Marauders and also against those Vikings.
Plus the CC. The CC has to get out of here. He's going to actually lift up and save some of his SCVs using his medevacs. So one group of units goes down there. Wow, what a tense match. 55 to 48 Harvesters. This third base, which is so late for Panic, is only harvesting with two probes right now.
Yeah, but he has those 3 bases, and Cure, he has the 3rd orbital, but he doesn't mine from the mineral line anymore. We do not have additional upgrades for Panic, though.
I'm a little surprised he killed those rocks. I don't see that helps him in any way. It actually opens up so the more Zealots can run through.
There we go, starts saturation. Also another cannon going up that choke point now, charging in once again. Archons trying to go all the way to the front. They're actually stuck in the back here.
He needs some storms. He just doesn't have them. He doesn't have any High Templar here. The SCVs are pulled off the line. He's going for the chase. Cannot afford to let those Archons fire anything but those SCVs. If he gets the SCVs in front of the Archons really want to hit that. Then he keeps the Zealots alive later. They come around and start fighting the Marauders. This is cute, but not going to get anything done. Third base is re-landed. And he's going to push this back, and the game will continue.
Yeah, Panic's still looking for an opening here, finally starting with the next set of upgrades for himself. We have 2 gateways still not transitioned into warp gates.
Yeah.
That limits his production a little bit, but it's not really the key element here. The Storms, we do not have High Templars anymore.
Yeah, he quit making them.
He's relying a lot on the Archons, but in the last battle he was trying to move in with the Archons all the way in the back, and that doesn't help. He needs to have them all the way at the front where they can do damage behind those Zealots. And there we go, Zealots charging in the storm. There are still 2 few High Templars, and that was a lot of damage done.
A ton of damage. This actually might be game winning for him. The Archons at the front doing so much damage to the Immortals in the back, also to hit anything that's armored and destroy it.
And still both of them at the same army supply, but this space is so exposed that he needs to move it back again. And with the Archons in there, he might lose the command center. I think he will.
Yep,
that command center goes down. Only 2 bases left for Cure.
A few more High Templar being warped in. They're the only ones he has, but in a few seconds they're going to have storms. This Archon force needs to break through those depots first. And then once he gets in here, he can make quick work of those Marines. It's a very Marine-heavy composition. 28 Marines, only 12 Mars, a lot of medevacs.
Getting those supply depots alone will just supply block the Terran player, and still those 2 gateways, no warp gates for him there. Here comes the feedback against the medevacs. That also makes sure that they won't be able to heal the army anymore. Every stim hurts at this point.
Every stim really hurts. And here we go, the Archons pushing those Marines back. There's not enough Marauders. The medevacs so low on energy. They're trying to find the best way to engage this. And with the flanking units from the north,
no
it looks
High
like...
Templar. We have no High Templar, no Storms anymore. The Terran player trying to move in. The army supply is still very much the same, but the Terran is dropping no water supply since he's using his SCVs as a meat shield as well as a buffer. He might be able to force the Protoss player back, but I don't think so. There's so many Immortals.
Too many Immortals here, and the next Warp and the Zealots will end the game, it looks like. The Warp Prism here, worth its weight in 200 minerals. And Cure desperately trying to hold on. He's about to have 3-3. That's one thing he's going to have going for him. He's going to be plus 3-3 versus plus 3 armor and plus 1 attack. This Protoss army only has plus 1 attack, so very much weaker.
The income is tripled by Panic right now. We only have 26 Harvesters left against 68. 60 workers killed by Panic in this match. This was, of course, the case when Cure was just pulling his entire SCV line to have a little bit of a buffer, and he GG's out of the game. He realizes that he will never be able to get back into the match with only such a small SCV count with 2 bases against 3. And Panic, a Protoss player, advances together with Roro to Code S. Another Terran going down to Code B.
Yeah, that was a rough game for him. But the Immortal heavy composition was really cool. And it's almost like he tricked his opponent into thinking he had no Storms. He just kept engaging and making a bunch of Archons. And he had those 2 High Templar on the War Prism. And that caught not only me, but Cure off guard. You could tell he was thinking, okay, there's no more Storms. I'm just going to keep getting aggressive. I'm going to keep chasing you.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if there are High Templar there. And the High Templar came in with the Storms, and he lost way too many hit points. And that was the turning point of that battle.
Panic wins it with a 2-0. So quite convincing there, and goes now to Code S together with Roro, so a Zerg and a Protoss advance, and we are still waiting for the first Terran player to qualify for Code S.
Yeah, we have 2 Terran players, Byung and Fantasy, playing in, I guess, about 1 hour's time. 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Quite surprised if we don't see a Terran player advance out of that group.
That's going to be crazy if we don't, especially not Fantasy. I think a lot of people are expecting him to go through.
Well, for now, we are done with the first group. On the other hand, we have Cure and also Hurricane, the 2 players that actually lost the initial matches. They are going down to Code B here. The results once again: Panic and Roro, the 2 players that were able to win their first games with a 2-0. They advanced also to Code S today.
Yep, really solid play out of them, and I feel like Hurricane was really the weak link of today. He was the one who played the weakest, but he definitely had some okay games. Hoping we see some more of him in the future. Cure is definitely somebody that you're going to see at the very least in Pro League, but Hurricane, for as far as leagues go in career right now, he's kind of done for a while, so he's got to get his wits together for next season if he's going to participate. And of course, our matches for later on tonight, I think we're going to take a look at our group.
And there it is, Fantasy versus Byung, the Terran versus Terran is going to be the first match. And then we have Super going up against Solar. Really excited to see Solar perform here, the Samsung Galaxy player. As I said, very present in online tournaments. Super also qualifying through the Code A qualifier once more. He actually defeated Byung. No, he was defeated by Byung and then later qualified. So it's funny that they are facing each other in this group because they already played in the same grid at the Code A qualifier. This is going to happen in 1.5 hours roughly, so make sure that you tune in for that.
Yeah, definitely tune in and tell your friends about it as well. It's going to be some really, really awesome matches. So that does it for now. So we're going to take about a 1 hour and 20 minute break, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right.